Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. Today we're looking at using the eyedropper tool to get access to colors in libraries in Photoshop. The reason why we need to do this is that there is no easy way to get colors from the libraries panel into the swatches panel in Photoshop. Unlike in Illustrator where it's a seamless sort of process, you can just copy an entire color scheme here into the swatches in Illustrator. You can't do that in Photoshop. So if you want to get access to these colors very easily, this is what you can do. I'm first of all going to size down my artboard just a little bit, and I'll show you in a minute why. I just want to get my libraries panel out here so it's over the grey surround and not over the artboard itself. I'm going to change the color of the type, so I'll target my type layer. I'll select my type tool, select over the type, and I want to change its color, so I'm going to click on this option here. Now at this stage I can't get access to these colors because clicking on them has no effect at all. But if I click up here on the grey surrounding to the document and then start dragging over the colors, then I can get access to the colors. So I'm going to choose a totally different color, this one here, and I'll click OK, and you can see that my type has now changed color. But let's have a look and see why I pulled the libraries panel out over the grey area and didn't leave it partially over the white. Let's go and do the same thing. This time I want to select this color here, but you can see that what I'm in actual fact doing is picking up the underlying color of the artboard. I can't get any of these colors here because they are on top of the artboard. I can start getting these colors here because I can get access to a portion of them that is showing over this darker gray background around my document rather than the artboard itself. So that's why you'll want to make sure that you can actually see the libraries panel all by itself and not over the artboard, because otherwise you won't be able to select any color that is totally over the artboard. Confusing? Yep, it certainly is. So just making sure my libraries panel is out of the way, you can see that I can change the color of my type. I can also change the color of a word of type exactly the same way. I'm going to select here, I'm going to choose a color to use, click OK, and you can see that I can change just a selected portion of the type. Now we can do something similar to this with other tools in Photoshop. I'm going to turn off this type layer. I'm going to add a brand new layer, and I'm going to fill this with a gradient. So I'm going to the gradient tool. I'm going to click the drop down list here, and let's go and get a gradient which is essentially pinks. Now if I wanted to add another stop to my gradient or change one of the colors in this gradient, I can do so. I'm going to click here to add another stop. Now I want to change the color of this, so I'll double click. And we already know that we can go and grab a color from the library by making sure that first of all we hover and click over the gray surrounds around the document, and then we can drag over the library color to select it. And here we've added another gradient stop to our gradient. I can double click this one and change it again, starting up here over the grey area, coming down, picking up the color I want to use, and click OK. So we can create a gradient or edit a gradient here in Photoshop using colors from the library panel, provided we know how to get access to those colors. And that's also going to work in areas such as styles. So let me turn off this layer. Let me add another layer. I'm just going to fill it with my foreground color here. So I'll press Alt Backspace or Option Delete on the Mac. I just want a color here to use. I'm going to the FX icon, and for this I'm going to apply a gradient overlay. So just as we did previously, we can edit this gradient. So I'm just going to click here to edit that stop. Click and drag, and I can make it a lighter color. Click OK, and that is now applied as a gradient as a layer style in Photoshop. So you can get to any of these stops, edit them exactly the same way as we were editing them previously, even though they're being applied as layer styles. And that's going to be the same thing as a color overlay. So you could apply a color overlay to your document. Again, just making sure that you're starting in the correct location when you go to select it using the eyedropper. But that is a way of accessing colors that are stored in libraries in Photoshop because it is so difficult to work with them from the swatches panel. I hope that that's helped you understand a little bit more about how you're going to get access to color schemes that you may have stored in libraries in Photoshop. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be alerted when new videos are released. Until next time, my name's Helen Bradley. Thank you so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel.